Alright guys, so we're out in the shop. It's early in the morning because I want to be able to knock this out while it still feels great outside. And we are going to go ahead and heat treat this knife. Now, I have the edge a little bit thicker on here. It's right in between the thickness of like a penny and a nickel. On my chef's knife, the Kemp chef's knife that I did, I brought the edge down a lot thinner than something like this, but still not as thin as a chef knife, but it is a thinner edge geometry so it can slice real well on that knife. But on this one, we need it to be able to chop. We need to have a real good beefy edge geometry on there so that whenever you're doing all kinds of different chopping activities, you're not folding that edge over. That's what we're going to work on. But I'll tell you, going into the heat treat process, we are going to go ahead and do 2 normalizing cycles. And that is just going to refine the grain structure. Now, we didn't forge this knife, so we're not having to really normalize it because of that. We're just normalizing it because this is going to take a lot of abuse, and I want to make sure that that grain structure is exactly what I want it to be. So we're going to normalize it twice, then we're going to heat treat and quench it, and then we're going to temper it. And we're going to do all of that in today's video. So let's jump into it. Let's get this thing knocked out. So now, when it comes to normalizing, a lot of times people do that whenever they're forging out the shapes of the knives, and it relieves some of the stress from the forging process so that you don't get warps or cracks or anything like that, and it really refines the grain structure. What I'm doing in this scenario is just trying to refine the grain structure to make sure everything is how I want it. So we're going to do 2 cycles of normalizing. And basically what I'm doing, you can do different things like thermocycling and stuff like that, but what I'm working on here is I'm just bringing it up to critical temperature, so basically just past non-magnetic. I'm going to do that twice. The first time, we're going to do what we're doing right now. We're going to get it all heated up, get it to where it is just past non-magnetic, and then we're going to take it out of the forge and just sit it down and let it be. If I was annealing, I would leave it in the forge, close off either end, and let it cool as slow as possible in the forge. But for this normalizing cycle, all I'm doing is just sitting it on the little lip outside the forge, let it cool down. It'll cool down decently slow. This little area that you're seeing right now, this section of video, is time-lapsed times 300. So it's 300% faster than normal. And it is still piping hot a good 25 minutes into this cooling down process. So this is, of course, it sped up in a little time lapse, and then I'll go ahead and show you here in a second whenever I get a little close up. Even though the steel looks like it's cold right there and all you're seeing is the reflection of the hot steel inside of the chamber, you can see right here on the blade that it is still slightly orange right there in the main body of it. It is still super hot. Now, once that cools down all the way to where you can touch it, you're going to go ahead, take it, put it back in the forge, and let it heat back up again. Now, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. This is my particular process. Again, we're just going to go straight up to non-magnetic, and then we're going to pull it out of the forge and sit it on the little lip again and let it cool down. So 2 cycles of normalizing. And then once we're cooled back down to where you can touch it again, we're then going to fire the forge back up, get the steel put inside the forge, because you would need to do that in order to heat treat it. And then we're going to bring it back up to non-magnetic again and then go just past that. And once we get up to that temperature that you're comfortable with, and you can, once you've done this for a little while, you can kind of tell by the color of the steel, but once we get up to that temperature, we're going to go ahead and take it out, dip it in our oil. Now this is peanut oil, and I've got it heated to 120 degrees. and then we are going to move it back and forth to make sure that we get all the bubbles moving and it cools down faster. And then of course, nice and hard. That's what we're going for right there. And now it's time to go ahead and temper it. This is about the largest knife that I can actually fit inside my oven. But we're going to go in here and we're going to do 2 1-hour sessions at 400 degrees. And like I said, this is about the largest knife that you can fit in here. Alright guys, let's go ahead and wrap up today's vlog. Now, we've got it baking / cooking / tempering in the oven right now. And normally I would let it do its thing, which of course we're doing 400 degrees for 2 1-hour sessions. And I would typically let it do its whole process, but that's going to take over 2 hours, and it would make me to where I'd have to release this video later in the day. And I kind of want to go in there and get this stuff edited so y'all can check all of this out. But that's what we're doing right now. And guys, I think this is going to turn out awesome. I've got a few ideas of how I want to do the etching on this, and I think it's going to look so cool. So we'll see what happens with that. And for the most part, that's it for this video. You know, if y'all have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below, or go on the Facebook page, TRE Workshop, and ask me there, or send me an email. However y'all want to do it, ask me questions, we'll get it done. Now guys, that's pretty much the end of this one. If y'all would, give this video a thumbs up, share this video or one of my other videos that I've done. And guys, if you haven't yet, so seeing how we don't have the knife in my hand, we're going to go ahead and use the template right here. Hit that subscribe button so you get notified for whenever we do more stuff with this. Plus, we've got handle scales that we're going to be making for this, which are going to be really cool. We're using Corey Scott's handle scales that he sent me, plus adding a little bit of my touch to it. So, there you go. Guys, that's it. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there. Catch y'all next time.